Welcome to Thrones and Scones! It's your weekday morning podcast where we talk Game of Thrones over breakfast. Is it still the week? Yep, sorry, it's only a Thursday, but we're here for you and for anybody who wants to hear about Game of Thrones or perhaps a little baked goods. Today we are hitting Season 4, Episode 9, The Watchers on the Wall. And, what was that?
Nothing.
Okay. And dark chocolate cherry.
Before he says anything, Hans has been like smiling and giggling this entire time. Like you could tell like something's in his. He's like, "Oh, I got him on this one."
No, I was gonna drop just at the end of that thing when you were saying this is Thrones. I was just gonna drop a little Thrones and Scones, but you just kept going and going and going. It was a great intro. I just couldn't. I couldn't squeeze it in there.
There was some good energy for Thursday. Good energy.
Well, we have to bring it because you know who did not get their energy level up sufficiently? Whoever the hell wrote this plot on the Game of Thrones wiki page for Season 4, Episode 9. I'm not even going to ask if you have any requests for voices because it would be a shame to do so little of it. I don't even know if this is one full sentence. I have to ask my English teacher from elementary school. Jon Snow and the rest of the Night's Watch face the biggest challenge to the wall yet. That is all.
It should be yet ?
Yet?
Yes.
It should indeed. Then it would at least be two semi-sentences. But no, the Watchers on the Wall, this is another one of our, I think, thus far, unless I'm wrong, we've only had one, Blackwater. Mm-hmm. This is where we don't move around. I mean, we see a couple different perspectives, but we stay at the wall for the whole episode. And it's this crazy sort of bout filled with action and crazy, very well choreographed fight scenes. They're really starting to get that stuff together. And coming after the excitement at the end of episode 8, I kind of forgot this happened in such rapid succession.
Yeah, because they were straying away from their typical formula a little bit, right? Because
it's true.
Probably the biggest thing that's happened in a while, the high point, the pinnacle, the shock was in episode 8.
Yes.
Instead of rightfully in episode 9 where it belongs.
But now we know. Oh yeah, no. They're still holding some punches here to have a full out war that they didn't really set up like the Stannis one with the Blackwater. There wasn't like a season leading up to this. There was quietly, but it wasn't like, oh, this could happen at any moment. It seemed like they weren't really ready for it on either end. The Wildlings seemed, when they saw the fires being lit, they're like, oh, okay, let's go for it. And then the people at the wall themselves, they're like, oh, shit, it's all happening. They're coming from below as well. Who was supposed to know that, even though Jon knew that and probably should have told us? But yeah, and then things popped off. What do you guys think?
Oh, it was a great episode. Excellent.
Yeah, anything beyond that you guys could give me right now.
That was it.
Okay,
Period.
so
Period. End the show.
Let's nitpick a little bit. So the wildlings that they send to climb the wall, does Mance just like fuck it? Like he knows they're not going to make it up the wall. It doesn't make any sense with any sort of like strategy. So
Does he know they're not going to make it?
So I don't understand how he thinks they're going to make it. He admits to later sending men to a weaker area to climb. He knows that the people on the other side, they're supposed to break them through the tunnel so that they can enter. I get it's a distraction and it's a good one, but I still feel like the men he sent, he was telling them to die. What I find is interesting is the amount he sends, I guess. I was putting it that way. And I know it's like being done obviously
6?
Huh? Yeah.
Like 6?
Yeah.
6 people.
Yeah, but they use that whatever the
chain,
the reap,
scythe,
the scythe of death. For 6 people.
What the? First of all, the timing to get it at just the right height was very impressive. To get 1 kill, let alone a triple. But what a crazy thing to have built into your wall of protection. They're like, you know what we need.
How long ago do you think they froze that chain in there?
It's probably been there for a long. It looked like an old winch, you know, which sounds like a terrible insult for a lady, but no, it's not at all what I was referring to.
You know Edison, when he says that, he's like, triple kill. It's not Edison? Edison? What? Am I wrong?
Who are you even talking about?
The commander that John leaves up on the top of the...
Just Ed, I think is his name.
Oh. I wrote on Edison. My bad.
I mean, I don't think he's... I mean, I know for a fact he's not a commander. He's just another...
No, but dude. The guy he lives up to command the top of the wall. Yeah.
First of all, okay, so there's Alliser Thorne and then Janos Slynt, who you know, I guess has command experience, so they put him on that high rung.
Right.
And then there's this new class, John and Pip and Gren and Ed and Sam. And it seems like they're the ones who are slowly but surely picking up the command. Don't you think that everybody in the middle is pissed off?
Oh, I know.
Like 40 years of Night's Watch recruitment, and they're like, we would like to not be shoveling poop anymore. This kid's been here for a year and a half, and he's commanding the wall.
Yeah. And it's not. And what is commanding the wall? Notch and loose.
Hey, you need someone to tell you to knock and loose,
Notch,
buddy.
Whoa! I didn't say loose.
That was that's like maybe the only thing I've ever liked from Sir Alliser Thorne, when he's like, does fucking knock mean fucking draw? He's got that good, yeah. But in stark contrast to that, him and John have this weird little moment, in quotations, where Alliser kind of gives him some cues about command. And, you know, basically says, like, you can say, I told you so if you want. And I like the moment. And then he's like, you can go back to hating me, and I'll go back to wishing you were dead. And they do. Immediately. The moment was kind of for nothing. They just do. And seemed weird to me. Seemed an odd inclusion if they weren't going to use it for any sort of actual character development, which they easily could have.
Yeah. It's just immediate. He says something about, you think they're going to make a little turn, a little character building, and then all of a sudden he's just back to calling him a twat.
Yeah. And he gets a nice little sword to the spleen for it later.
Yeah, I thought he was going to die. But anyway.
So tracking back a little bit, when Tormund and Ygritte are out there waiting for the signal, what did you think of that whole scene? I mean, I wrote down one thing, which is Ginger Minge.
Ginger Minge. Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure we probably all wrote down someplace.
It's just so fun to say.
It just is great. I think I was chuckling from that point on. Ginger Minge.
Have you considered being, in your day-to-day life, Jeremy Ginger Minge Sturgill? Because it really rolls off the tongue.
It does.
That Ginger Minge really rolls off the tongue.
John the tongue.
John knows.
John knows, yes.
But yeah, I thought it was excessive. I don't like. I get this like bloodlust that they've painted Ygritte into, but that whole bit with the Thens and stuff just seemed like time killer.
See, I think she's trying too hard, and I think that's actually the point, is like you're watching her struggle. Even when she's in there fighting, you know, she's ruthless, right? She is wrecking there. And I think I put down this as the bad for mine, but the fact that Ollie gets her, it bothered me. It bothered me in this episode a lot. That little bitch getting that kill just upset me.
It's tough for me to kind of rectify Ollie then with Ollie, who I know in my heart. And I can't separate the two anymore. So it's hard for me to comment.
Yeah, no. You have to focus on the show.
But I thought it was okay. I mean, what's the alternative? John killing her?
I don't know. I felt like her death could have been done. I mean, either way, the way it happened was fine. I'm glad they had that moment. I'm glad. I mean, you know nothing. Again, that cheapened it for me too, but whatever.
Yeah, that was a little forced.
Oh, I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay. It was the moment they needed. But, and I should have mentioned this ahead of time so you guys could have actually gone back and watched it. This is something I never picked up on until right now, and I could be pulling it out of nowhere. But every time Ygritte killed somebody that it showed, like from a distance with her arrows, she would she'd be all frantic and she'd go, huh! And she would loose, and then it would change perspective, and it would hit something. And for a second, I go, that guy looks like Jon. And I wonder if they did that on purpose, where they're like, when they're trying to show from her perspective, she is basically seeing him, and trying to get it in her head that, like, she's here to kill him. And then when she does see him, they just end up kind of stark facing each other and half smiling. But this be really interested. If you guys think of it, go back and watch that little bit in the scene and see if you pick up on the same stuff or if I'm just insane, which is very possible.
No, I noticed it too, because there was a couple times they show her shooting somebody, and it'd be kind of from the back, and it'd be somebody with longer black hair. Mm-hmm. And I noticed it too. I didn't necessarily know if it was because I was trying to think of why the show would make it that way. If it was what she was seeing, or if it was just that a lot of those dudes are wearing the same type of clothing and probably don't groom themselves very often, so they kind of all just look like Jon. Or if it was her thinking it was Jon and just fucking showing that she was there to actually kill him, and then it wasn't until she actually saw his face or whatever that she wasn't able to. But do you think she would have shot him if she had a little longer time?
No.
She put 3 arrows in him once.
I think that the second that he smiled at her, it was like she couldn't pretend that he had willingly done her dirty anymore. Like, he didn't have that ill will towards her. The love was there. I don't think she would have done it.
Yeah.
But I also, like, Ollie's not there to kill her conveniently. It does beg the question, like, well, what happens?
Yeah, same type of thing. I think we find out the answer to what happens, and apparently nothing, because Jon just sits there and holds her for like 10 minutes while everyone's fighting around him, and no one, they perfectly just fine. So
Jon, apparently, mourning is the least stressful thing to do on the battlefield. The most stressful job, so maybe he gets a pass. Can you imagine being in Ollie's position where you're like 8 years old, and they're like, all right, fighting is happening all around you. Everyone that you know is dying. And by the way, these are just the people you know after everybody you already knew died. To these same people who are definitely going to eat you. Now, work that winch, boy.
Don't you dare leave your post.
But, it's got to be so impossibly stressful. I don't even know how to do that. I mentioned yesterday as well that when we were talking about Oberyn's fight with the mountain and his teeth all get knocked out, that just like made my skin crawl. There's a similar moment in this that I don't think they focus on enough, and I don't think has enough like physical repercussions. And it's when Jon is fighting the Thenn guy, and the guy just shoves his face into an anvil.
I know. Yeah, Jesus.
God.
And he has a bruise. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Because that would wreck you.
Your nose is in your brain at that point. Like, that would hurt so much.
That was a brutal fight. That was really, really good. And I like the whole, whatever, steel hammer into the skull at the end that ends it. That was
with the dumb cross-eyed look. Falling to the ground. It was that fight in general, that whole, like, maybe 45 seconds before that, where they're doing that pan down from the wall, and then it just, like, is this wide shot, continuous thing that goes across it, is so impressive.
So, best kill. I mean, we talked about, maybe that was your best kill, but what was your best kill?
The best kill in that whole thing was the giant shooting the guy with the arrow.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It seems almost so. I get the fact that it's an arrow that can actually reach the top of the wall. They make a point to show the other guys shooting arrows and not even getting close.
Yeah,
but it does seem a bit ridiculous to have such a massive arrow just to try and shoot one dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it would be a great siege. We see it before when he misses that it just takes out like half of the
a
parapet.
tower,
Like,
yeah.
and yeah, when it does hit that guy, it follows him all the way to the ground, and then the arrow lands, and he like slides down. Oh,
That's crazy.
it was awesome. Yeah, so I'll give it to that for sure. The Then kill was very satisfying to
satisfying,
watch, indeed. Pip's death was sad. It's a little less sad that I can say rip Pip because that's a little fun.
He's the guy who got the arrow through the neck, correct?
Yes.
Then John's other friend, who we don't necessarily find out, we do find out at the end of this episode, right? Because
at the very end, yeah,
him and a group of guys are there to defend the gate, and when the giant comes through,
Do you remember
that was a
book?
good. That moment got me pumped up too.
What was that, Jeremy?
Do you remember the book part of that?
Well, it's not Gren. It's the cook, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hob. Yeah.
Still,
Yes.
still an awesome part in the book. I was interested to see how they were. I don't remember this part as much, so.
I like the aftermath of it, but I do wonder, like, the scene itself, very dramatic. They're reciting their Night's Watch vows as this giant is just charging down the gate. But I do wonder what happened, because they all have swords, and they're not, like, holding them out to stab at him. They're, like, holding him up in slashing formation.
Yeah, he's gonna wreck them.
And they're so close to the gate that if he did burst through it, he'd
all be
wreck
dead.
their shit.
Yeah.
So I do just wonder what happened.
He's like, you know, they have this guy being the king, and it's not like he's like never battled before, so you think he wouldn't just run at swords. I mean, I don't know, but still, cool scene.
Yeah, and they didn't bring bows at all because as I was thinking, it was taking them a while to get that door up, and I was just thinking like, all right, shoot him in the balls, because like if you're gonna get him to drop that door, that's gonna do it.
It just seemed like plenty of crossbows were around. Like they could all just grab, had a couple crossbows.
Yeah,
dude could have been half dead before he even got to the gate.
So
yeah, Joffrey
yes.
would have been straight up on those crossbows.
Had he lived to see this episode,
Man, he'd been like, you guys passing up the weapon.
Indeed. Any other notable moments? Notable moments from you guys?
Notable moments.
From the episode? Gilly and Sam Jr. are back at Castle Black. Really, the only purpose is to show what a coward Janos Slynt is and to show that people know that. But, yay, I guess they're safe.
Yeah, Sam kisses Gilly.
Oh, that's true. Oh, it's actually my first note. Before Gilly and Sam Jr. arrive back, John and Sam are talking up on the wall, and Sam is just, what's it like to love so? And John's like trying to get all metaphysical with this guy, and it's like, come on, he just wants to hear about the sex, John. And so he goes so far as to like, you can almost see that Sam starts to get like a little happy when he thinks Master Aemon's going to be talking about sex. He's desperate. He's desperate for anything.
Yeah, I know.
Sam.
Although, if my notes are to be believed, I must have been like half paying attention or something, or like my mind must have been elsewhere when I was writing these down, because I actually wrote Sam kills Gilly instead of kisses. So
she shows back up. He says, "You can never scare me like that again." And the best way to prevent that is if you're dead.
He says, "We're in the belly."
Says, "Wherever you go, I go."
It was a dark episode. Yeah,
you're not going anywhere.
The one, I guess, little caveat here, as with these intense episodes, our good and bad Juggly's action is rather limited, and this time it's limited to nothing.
Yeah. If this was season 1, they would have forced some boobs in there.
Ygritte would have gotten an arrow through the breast as they would have popped.
Well, I tell you, after earlier this season, they're really careful about forcing anything, because they're still probably in hot water. I don't know. But regardless of the things that we may or may not get to see flopping around as action happens, we do get to see, if you follow us on Instagram, that we do have some scones. And today it's me. And I have a dark chocolate cherry scone. Does that tickle your guys' fancy?
Yeah, tell me about that scone, Tony. How is it? Give me an in-depth rundown.
I can do that. It's from Sunrise Bakery and Cafe at Cherlo Studio.
Awesome. I might have. I think I'm gonna have to pass on that one based on that review.
I hope
but-
you choke on that delicious scone.
Well, it's all gone now, and it's moist enough to liven up my windpipe. But if you want to catch us tomorrow and hear our scone review and maybe see if we get time to talk about Game of Thrones as well, we will be back nice and early as per usual. And of course, you can find us at thronesandscones.com. Then and in the meantime, are you down with GOT?
Yeah,
Yes, you know me.
Yes.
Sí, tú sabes qué. which is definitely not how you say that.
I was gonna say, isn't K what?
See, yes, you know what. You know what? Me. Just thought I'd extend it for some excitement, you know? Oh, God. Idiotas.